that we organized today and in the next period. My name is Ngọc Ngo. I'm the Manager of Strategic Partnership at Saxion University of Life Sciences in the Netherlands. Saxion University of Life Sciences in the Netherlands and Telkom University in Indonesia have nearly 10 years cooperation in the field of students and teacher mobility. Our ambition for cooperation focuses not only on education, but also on research, and especially on the application of research. The webinar today that we co-host together with Telkom University show that our effort and our commitment to enhance our cooperation to the next level and to expand our cooperation into research projects in different fields. When talking about Bitcoin, I think that all of you know what Bitcoin is, but maybe not all of you know that Bitcoin uses the technology of blockchain. So what is blockchain and what are technology and application available? And what are the potential application of blockchains, or what blockchain ecosystem is? Today, our experts from Saxion University of Applied Sciences and Telkom University will tell you about these things based on their research. Before having opening and welcoming remarks from our management board of both universities, I would like all of us together to sing our Indonesian and Dutch national anthem. Okay, to begin our today webinar on blockchain technology and applications, I'm very delighted to invite Dr. Rina Astuti, Vice Director for Research at Telkom University in Indonesia, to give her welcome remarks. Please, Dr. Rina.
Thank you, Ms. Ngokngo. Dear Excellencies, Director School of Economics and Finance and Accounting, Saxion University of Applied Science, Professor Sander Rendering, colleges of Saxion University of Applied Science, especially Professor Jan Vega, and all speakers from Telkom University and Saxion University of Applied Science, International Office Team of Science University of Applied Science, especially Ms. Ngo, and participants. Good morning, good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. On behalf of Telkom University, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you in the first webinar series, Blockchain Technology and Applications, hosted by Telkom University Indonesia, Saxion University of Applied Science, Netherlands. I am happy that our partnership with Saxion has blossomed so nice and growing well with various implemented programs. Thank you. Dear participants, I'm very grateful to you for taking time from your busy schedule to attend this important webinar series. We are proud that you have chosen to spend your time in this virtual program. Together with Saxion University, we make this webinar because many says that blockchain technology is in the future. We want to invite more people to discuss blockchains and how to implement it for mankind. We divide this webinar into two sections. The first section is an introduction to blockchains, and the second section will discuss blockchains implementation in the field of health, finance, and blockchain security. We hope that this webinar can improve our understanding of blockchains and how to use it for good in the future and contribute blockchains developed in the future, especially in Telkom University. Let me once again thank Saxion University for hosting this program with us. And I want to especially congratulate to honorable speakers and most of participants for participating in this program. Telkom University, may I introduce, is an additional educational institution committed to becoming a world-class university that plays an active role in the development of information technology, science, and art with information technology base. Our goal is to create new information technology based knowledge, educate future talents, and spark innovations. Also focus on enhancing research and community services collaborations within the national and international scope. For this program, we strengthen the collaboration among innovation center and directorates, including Directorate of Research and Community Services, 34 lectures expert group, Bandung Technopark for innovation, and 5 research center. One of our research center is digital business ecosystem, focus on blockchains. We are looking forward to have good collaborations ahead with universities in Indonesia and also in. Thank you all of you for being here today. Thank you for your participation. Thank you, Miss Ngok. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rina Astuti. Thank you very much for your nice words towards our cooperation. And I'm sure that our cooperation will be fruitfully developed in the near future, especially in the field of research. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Thank you.
Next, I would like, due to the very urgent obligation, the director of the School of Economics, Finance and Accounting, Mr. Sander Reidling, cannot attend or open the webinar today, but the Vice Director of the school, Ms. Tekla van Malen, will, on behalf of Saxion University, give her opening remarks. Tekla, I would like to invite you to give your remarks.
Thank you, Nok. Oh, well, I hear myself double. You too?
It's okay now.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to this first webinar. I don't think so. Maybe. Like this? Is it
It's
better
okay.
now? Yeah?
Yeah, it's better.
It's better.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to this first webinar, a collaboration between Telkom University and Saxion University. It's an honor to be here and to talk about this beautiful initiative to establish further structural cooperation between the two universities. We are very proud of that. I would like to take a moment to explain Saxion's position as the oldest university in the Netherlands. University of Applied Sciences is a Dutch vocational university with 3 campuses in the eastern part of the Netherlands. It provides more than 100 courses in study fields as archaeology, finance, law, engineering, hospitality, business IT, broadcasting, health, and digital media. With over 27,000 students, it's one of the largest institutions of higher education in the Netherlands. At Saxion, we mainly do applied research. You mentioned it before. We study the interaction between people and technology, and we connect to the high-tech manufacturing industry that we're so good at in the eastern part of the Netherlands and the Stedendriehoek, Apeldoorn, Deventer, and Enschede. But from Indonesia, it's the eastern part, I guess. Students and researchers from various programs work together on complex projects. By combining knowledge and practice, they arrive at new, surprising solutions. Solutions that make daily life easier or more pleasant, more affordable, or more sustainable. For now, but certainly also for the future. Close to home or further afield. Research, enterprise, and devising solutions. That's what we train and coach students in from day one they come to us. Skills that are valuable for the rest of their lives. Companies and institutions can come to us with questions, and we've translated the importance of joint research into our research vision 2020-2024 with a focus on key technologies, of which blockchain is an excellent example, on which Saxion will also focus in the coming years. The blockchain chair is the only and unique blockchain chair in the Netherlands. We underline the importance of interdisciplinary applied research in education with, for example, Smart Solutions Festival, Blockchain Week in 2020 and 2021, the minor business models and blockchain, and the excellence trajectory. This first webinar is the start of an intensive cooperation in the field of knowledge sharing, research, and exchange of students, teachers, and researchers. We hope for a further constructive cooperation towards the future, and that we can look back on this first nice start and an interesting webinar today. I wish you much pleasure with this afternoon for the participants in Indonesia and a nice morning for the Dutch participants. See you next time.
Thank you very much, Tekla, for your nice word about Saxion University and especially about our research group in blockchain. Before entering the main part of our webinar, I would like you, our guests, together with us to join our group photo shoot. Please turn on your camera feature so that we have you all on our photo. Okay, the photo shoot section will be started. I will count it to 5 to make sure that we have 5 beautiful photos. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. The main section is now going to start. I kindly request all participants turn off the microphone during the presentation. You are welcome during the presentation to post your questions, and please post your questions. You can do it by writing in the chat box. And at the end of the presentation section, there will be 30 minutes session for questions and answers. We will do our best to give you all the answer of our questions, but depending on the time availability, we can give you answer orally, or it can be written in the chat box. Please check it. At the end of the Q&A section, we will put the link of the evaluation form on the chat box. And I would like very much that you give your feedback and your suggestion in the evaluation form. With your suggestion and your feedback, I'm sure that we can improve our next webinar. I thank you in advance for doing this. Of course, we will give you, our participants, our students, the certificate of attendance after our webinar sessions. That is our rule of the webinar. And now we will start the main sessions. Our moderator today is Professor Dr. Jan Vaughan from the Saxion University in the Netherlands. Dr. Jan Vaughan has been appointed as professor at Saxion University in blockchain from 2019. Professor Jan Vaughan is the founder of our blockchain research group at Saxion University. And thanks to his leadership, our blockchain group at Saxion University of Life Science, we have now 13 researchers, and the number will be increasing together with the ambition of our blockchain research group. The Saxion, as Ms. Tekla already told you in her speech, the Saxion Blockchain Research Group is the only one in the Netherlands, and we are, of course, very proud of that. Before joining Saxion University of Life Sciences in the Netherlands, Professor Dr. Jan Vaughan was Professor of Real Estate at Institute for Business at the Hanse University of Life Science in Groningen from 2012 to 2019. Professor Jan Vaughan graduated from Erasmus University in Rotterdam. That is one of the Europe's leading business and education research school. Next to being professor at Saxion University, Professor Dr. Jan is also the chairman and member of various academic committee and research council in the Netherlands and outside the Netherlands. His detailed academic background will be introduced again in the next webinar section when he will be the keynote speaker. And now I would like to invite Professor Dr. Jan Vaughan to start the sessions. Jan, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Nok, for your introduction. A very warm welcome to the first in a series of 2 webinars and later on a conference on blockchain technology and applications. It's an honor to be partnering with Telkom University and sharing knowledge on blockchain. This is particularly interesting because we can look at the same topic from different cultures and share insights. And that is why I'm pleased that we have speakers from both universities sharing their research and visions on this day and on 17th of March the 17th. As a blockchain research group, Saxion University of Applied Science, we were primarily on research to share knowledge with students in education and in the field, as well as with many universities. The blockchain chair carries out interdisciplinary research into which issues blockchain is suitable for, under which condition or which organization blockchain is interesting, and what the impact is on organizations. The research group develops methods and tools for blockchain applications and their implementation. The research group is initiator of the Saxion Blockchain Institute, a social corporation of and by knowledge partners, business community, education and interested parties. The focus lies on blockchain application for value creation and disruption in cooperation with regional, national and international networks with the Saxion Blockchain Institute as innovation accelerator. I now will introduce you the 3 speakers, and after when the 3 speakers did their presentation, we will have a question and answer session with the 3 speakers. And also what Nok mentioned, you can, if you have any question, you can put it in the chat and I will mark that with the question and answer session. The first speaker of today is Andre Alamsai. He is since 2011 researcher in Telkom University at the School of Economics and Business. He is a founder of Lab, a social computing and big data. He was director of Digital Business Ecosystem Research Center from 2018 to 2020. He also is the founder and the president of the, I hope I spelled it good, Association Ilmu Data Indonesia, AIDI, the only formal association for data scientists in Indonesia. He has a couple of interesting research in social computing, social network, complex network, big data, big science, data analytics, blockchain technology, disruptive innovation, etc., etc. The next speaker is Dr. Andre Alassamai from the Telkom University. He will do a presentation about the implementation to general blockchain. Some comments of his is that he is a director of the Digital Business Ecosystem Research Center. He is also a researcher and lecturer of the School of Economics, and his research topics is the social computing application in economy, business and management area. And he did a lot of publication. The third keynote speaker is Christa Barkel. Some relevant experience of her. She's at Saxion, the project manager of the European Union funded project Block Waste, a strategic EU partnership for vocational education and training in blockchain technology applied to circular waste management. She's also a PhD candidate with the topic blockchain innovation from ecosystem perspective. And she's also a program manager of the Saxion Excellent Track blockchain. And she delivered some publications on a book of chapter about blockchain hospitality and tourism. And she did also a chapter in the book about blockchain technology and application about a blockchain business model for decentralized networks. Those are the 3 speakers for today. And first I want to introduce the first speaker presentation, Mr. Anak Agung Kedu Agung. The stage is yours. Are you there, Anak?
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Good morning and selamat siang. In today's presentation, I would like to share a brief introduction to blockchain. Many of us are probably familiar with Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Ethereum, or NFT tokens. But how many of us realize that they are running on a technology called blockchain, and they are not the only product of blockchain? So, to explore the true potential of blockchain, we need to understand how it works. The first question, what is a blockchain? The concept of blockchain was proposed by someone known by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. In 2007, Nakamoto published a paper with the title Bitcoin, a Peer-to-Peer Electronic Cash System. In this paper, Nakamoto proposed an electronic payment system. Turns out that the proposed system not only can manage electronic transactions, but also other kind of data. With the help of blockchain, we can also deploy a self-executing contracts or smart contracts. What's special with blockchain is it is running without any central authority. The system is maintained and secured by computers around the world. In traditional concept, electronic money transaction always includes one or more financial institution. This institution, usually a bank, verifies and executes the transaction, which is checking the validity of accounts, checking the balance of the sender, deducting the sender's balance, and adding the receiver's balance. The institution plays an important role because in electronic money, it is easy to duplicate the money. In certain conditions, the so-called double spending problem occurs. This has happened when people successfully spend both the original and fake money. Now, the problem with central authority, it is often interfered by politics. There are many examples that someone's account is being frozen because of political reason. For the same reason, people cannot transfer money to a certain region of the world. The bank charge high fee for money transfer, make it unsuitable for small casual transaction. There are also complaints that our personal data is shared with other companies. Now, the blockchain simply looks like this. In a normal database, the data is stored in tables. In a blockchain, the data is stored in blocks. The blocks then arranged from the latest to the newest. Then they are chained together. This is where the blockchain name came. So, to simplify, we can define blockchain as a system or database which maintain and secure the data in a distributed peer-to-peer mode. To create such system, there are some concerns which underlying the blockchain technology. The first issue is how to describe data ownership in the blockchain. Blockchain maintain the record of ownership from the very beginning of transaction. It is like when we buy a car. In any time, there is only one person owning the car. We can track the owner of the car at any specific time by looking at the ownership history. Blockchain use similar concept. In blockchain, Owners are identified by address, which is represented by hexadecimal. When data is transferred, the owner writes the recipient's address and then sign the transaction. In other words, he hands over the ownership of the data to the recipient. In blockchain, once the data is added, it will stay there forever. There is no edit, no delete in the blockchain. Second issue is how to protect the data. When dealing with huge kind of data, we need to identify them quickly and easily. In blockchain, we use hash function. A hash function transforms any data to a fixed length number. Hash function is pseudo-random, which means they will produce completely different unpredictable result if the input is different. They are also one-way function, which means even if we have the hash result, it is impossible to calculate the input. Each block in the blockchain is hash. The hash is then stored in the next block. So there is a link or chain between blocks. If the data is changed, the hash value will be different and the link will be broken. So to successfully change the data, the hash stored in the preceding blocks must be changed and so on until the last block. If there is only one blockchain in the network, it will be easy. So every node, every computer connected to the network holds an exact copy of the blockchain. Now it has become harder to change the data. Not only they have to change all the blocks hash, but they must change the blockchain file in other nodes. To convince the network, they must change at least half plus one not available in the network, which is very difficult. Third issue is how to identify and protect the account. Blockchain use asymmetric cryptography. A private key is kept secret by the owner and the public key is shared. One key is used to encrypt the data and other key to open the encryption. This concept is like sending an email. Everyone can send us email if they know our email address, but only the one who knows the login detail can open and read the email. Fourth issue is how the data is verified. The challenge is how to identify if a data is original and sent by the rightful owner. To do this, we need a digital signature. To make a signature, data is hashed, then encrypted. The data and signature then sent to the receiver. To verify the data, the receiver decrypts the signature with the public key to reveal the hash. Then the receiver compares the hash with the data hash. If it is the same, then the data is verified. If it is not, we can say that the data has been changed or it is sent by someone else. The fifth issue is how to add a new data into the blockchain. New data is pulled and broadcasted to the network. The nodes pick them up and verify the data. Then they add other information such as timestamp and previous hash and create something called a block candidate. At one time, only one block candidate should be added into the blockchain. There are many nodes in the network. To choose which one, a consensus mechanism is used. In Bitcoin, every node needs to solve a puzzle. The puzzle is hard to solve, but the answer is easy to check. It's imagine that we have 100 boxes, but only one box has a ball in it. Now we ask someone to guess which one. We can say that the problem is solved when someone can show us the ball. In blockchain, the node calculates the hash of the block candidate until the hash value match a certain condition. Now, the same input will produce the same hash value, so a node added a random number to the input. And they repeat this process with different number until someone in the nodes found the valid hash value. This mechanism is also known as the proof of work or mining, and the nodes are called miners. So the faster a node calculates the hash, the more probability it solves the puzzle first. There are other consensus mechanisms. One of proof of stake. In the proof of stake, the probability depends on how much money a node stake, not by the hash power. So, what happened when a node solves the puzzle? When a node solves the puzzle, it will broadcast the result to the network. Other nodes verify the answer. If majority of the node found it valid and accept the result, the block candidate will be added into the blockchain. 6, how we encourage people to participate to the system. You see, verifying transaction and adding a node into blockchain is competitive and expensive, but the process is necessary because the system relies on that process to secure the blockchain. So there is a reward mechanism for the nodes. Every time a block is added, a digital coin is generated and given to the winner node. This coin has value because we believe that the whole system will work. This coin is known as cryptocurrency or cryptos. So that's Bitcoin, Ether, and so on. Bitcoin blockchain have a set of operations accessible to user. When other blockchains like Ethereum even allow user to define their own operation. Now we can use this operation to write code which run on the blockchain. This code is called smart contract. An application connected to the smart contract, also known as DApps or decentralized application. Now, what this smart contract do? The smart contract will automatically execute operation when a predefined conditions are met. Because of the blockchain immutability, once the contract is deployed, it cannot be changed and always be executed. So it's like a secure escrow mechanism. Now, we have seen the basic work of blockchain. As a summary, data in the blockchain cannot be deleted or modified. New data can only be added. This way, we maintain the history. The history is traceable. Second, data is secured with cryptographic hash function and digital signature. Block hash is stored in the next block. So it's acting like a chain. So blockchain is replicated among nodes, make it secure and immutable. Blockchain network consists of nodes which operate in peer-to-peer mode. Nodes are free to join or leave the network anytime they want. So it is a decentralized system which runs in untrusted environment. The last, nodes manage the data in a consensus way. Now, most people divided blockchain evolution into 4 stages. The first was early Bitcoin and other cryptos, when blockchain was used exclusively for digital currency. Second generation blockchain started with general purpose smart contract offered by Ethereum. However, they are very slow. Bitcoin can handle about 4 transactions per second, while Ethereum can handle about 14 transactions per second. We can compare this with the speed of Visa, for example, which can handle around 1,700 transactions per second. Third blockchain has better scalability. So the focus in blockchain 3.0 is scalability, interoperability, and better UI and UX. Third generation blockchain like EOS, for example, can handle about 4,000 transactions per second. The fourth generation of blockchain, they aim to be more embedded with the industry and building ecosystem. Now, Gartner predicted that 2020s will be important years for blockchain technology, when blockchain offer a complete solution with deliver full potential of blockchain. This means more decentralization and tokenization. Blockchain is a huge industry. Gartner predicted the business value added by blockchain will be worth about $3 trillion by 2030. So, as a summary, blockchain-based product is not limited to cryptocurrency. It gives us smart contract, decentralized application, decentralized finance, and recently booming the NFT. There are many potential aspects of the blockchain yet to discover. It is not also limited in financial area. We can see the implementation of blockchain in health, security, government, education, energy, and so many others. So, in the next presentation, we will see some implementation of the blockchain. So stay tuned. Thank you, Professor.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Anak Gedo Anukung. It was nice to have you here. Thanks for your information. I have a couple of questions, but we do that in the session about questions and answers. We're a little bit early in the schedule for today, but I wanted to introduce the second speaker. The second speaker is Dr. Andri Alamsyah from Telkom University. He will do a presentation about the implementation to general blockchain. I mentioned before, he's the director of the Digital Business Ecosystem Research Center. He's also a researcher and lecturer of the School of Economics. And he has a research topic is social computing, application in economy, business and management area. And he did a lot of publication. May I introduce you to the stage, Dr. Andri?
Hello, Prof. Jan. Thank you very much for the nice introduction. Good morning, everyone in Netherlands, and good afternoon, my colleague in Indonesia, and also all over the world who present on this presentation. I think I cannot share my screen. Maybe I'm not host yet. Yeah. So it was nice presentation, Pak Agung. I just continue your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really the nice base about what is blockchain. So I just okay. Thank you very much. Okay, let me share my screen. Is anyone can see my screen? Is it full screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So today I will talk about blockchain implementation and potential application because, as you know, we have a lot of potential use of use case. Some of the public doesn't know how to implement blockchain yet, so this is quite maybe can increase their curiosity about what the blockchain capable of in use case in daily life. Okay. So so actually the blockchain research in my group is just started. Yeah, So we use a lot. We do the research on social computing and data analytics. Since last year, we think that we try to use a blockchain is a part of our strategy, but we don't yet have a significant impact until now. We still create a lot of proposal to have the for grant of granting our research. But okay, let me start the research, the presentation. So as we know today, we are in the era of Industry 5.0 and Society 5.0, the era where the technology can help us to get more effective business daily business, and also in the Society 5.0 we have many social problems that needs to be helped by technology, to improve the life of the human, job opportunity, precision healthcare, and etc. We think that all of these two phenomena in this today is Industry 5.0 and Society 5.0 is have the fundamental technology that support them, which is big data, which is a large collection of data, and then also AI or artificial intelligence, which produce the automation and the intelligent, the smart intelligence, the smart decision to support to make an efficient decision. And also the last part is blockchain, to make AI or agent of AI work as the rule, following the rule. Blockchain as the guardian of the rules, as the procedure of anything that we can implement on that. So how many of you, when you go to the supermarket, find your product in the supermarket, wondering whether your product comes from really that product that same as the advertised? For example, here, maybe this is orange, maybe you can find another product like coffee, etc. that you need to know where your product comes from, whether the product as advertised, or maybe some of the information more you need know more than that. For example, the ingredient of the product that you have. Some people cannot eat more sugar than others, so the producent put the label on that and see that this is the ingredient from sugar around how many milligram, but how can you believe that statement? Today in Indonesia, we don't have much choice. We don't know that there is a technology that exists to provide that. So in other area, this is maybe we don't know yet. Maybe is because of the centralized authority. Pak Agung already told before that centralized have a lot of limitation, but this issue is very much happening when the financial crisis of the United States in 2008 happens. If you know, there's many banks invest in a cascade of investment that at the time failed, that trigger collapse of the financial system, and at the end those banks goes bankrupt, and then need the help of the government, which is obviously use public money to help the bank. So here we realize, people realize that the centralized have more disadvantage, such as we cannot just put the trust on the centralized system. We need more open system. That's why we need to propose the decentralized of power. So the question is, can we replace the centralized authority? So as we see before, there are many problems here. For example, there are a lot of inefficiency in centralized system, like a border friction, competition, redundancy, arbitrage, etc. And then also there's a lot of by the research, we see that a lot of area that we can transform decentralized into decentralized systems, such as in supply chain. Once we have many nodes in the network, know where the product or the quality of the product on the way to from the producer to the consumer, then we know that that is always guaranteed that they follow the rule or they follow the claim. Yeah. Also in the healthcare, when we exchange the data around the patient, etc., etc., so we see that what is the true symptom of the sick patient, etc., etc. So then, as Pak Agung said, the birth of Bitcoin coincidentally coming at the same time as the financial crisis in 2008. Nakamoto proposed a peer-to-peer cash system, a payment system which is decentralized, decentralized protocol that could track and verify. Verify means that there's no bank. We don't need bank to verify our transaction. The verification is done by the network that to prevent the double spending, because now without blockchain, we use internet, we can exchange information, but the information become double. I can give Pak Agung a photo or Jan my photo, and then I still have the photo, and Jan have the new photo, but I still have my photo. But this is cannot happening in asset. Once you give the asset to other people, then you don't own the asset anymore. So we need to have the technology to put these things together. So that's why this blockchain technology was created by the Bitcoin. Then this is secured by cryptography secure system. Pak Agung already said that proof of work or consensus mechanism, and give a reward to people to always active in this network, that makes the network become secure by involving more people to come to the network. So basically, in non-technical terms, is something like that. But the main objective is the removal of intermediaries. Then we can achieve the distributed, decentralized power. So as you can see now, we have 785 million rupiah for one Bitcoin. I talk about Bitcoin 4 months ago, is still 190. So right now is amazing, the value of the blockchain. Yeah. Okay. So as we said before, what affected the distributed power is that we have a distributed ledger. So the record is distributed among the node in the network. So each node have the same record. What does the implication of the node have the same record is that every node, everyone can trust the transaction or the data, because no one can change that. No one have the same data. If something different, and then we just don't believe to the different data. Yeah. So this is this kind of distributed ledger increasing trust, transparency and efficiency. Okay. So this is Pak Agung already mentioned a little bit, but I do a little bit the same. Yeah, we have a collection of chains of the block here, number one, and then number two, if one block is changed by the attack or by people who wants to cheat the data, and then all the block become invalid or become we cannot use this block. So we don't trust this block because something is changing. Yeah. Then all the blockchain become immutable, cannot be regulated, or we consider that technology is incorruptible. So it's the strong word for this technology. So, okay. Okay, I will skip this one because Pak Agung already said about the security. And then what is the feature that I will explain more in the implementation? The first feature of the trust machine, the blockchain feature, is the trust machine. We can trust without knowing the background of our counterpart. We just trust the algorithm. We just trust the mechanism. So blockchain is the trust machine, increase transparency and efficiency. And the second one is that each node have their own privacy. Yeah, we can separate between identity and identifier. Identity is the identity can create many identifier. Identity is similar to the private key. Yeah, we can create many public key. So each time we create a transaction, we use the public key. So we can create many identifier that not lead back to our identity. So it protects our privacy. And then the third one is smart contract. The smart contract is very powerful. Pak Agung said that this is the version 2 of blockchain. It's very favorable because it's not only human that can transact using smart contract, but also engine or agent or a part of AI agent that can make a transaction or make a decision based on this smart contract. And the last one, as I said before, we could have the internet of value. We can exchange asset on top of the internet based on this blockchain technology. All of them create the feature called trust machine. Yeah. And then the second one is the token economies, where we can reward a good behavior, yeah, to coordinate people with different motive. Yeah, we can channeling all those motive into the one that we want, yeah, for the behavior that we want. Then we give the reward, the one that we follow the rule or something like that. Yeah. So for example, if we go to the we can see that we can imagine that automotive vehicle, autonomous vehicle in the same road, then they can interact each other. Yeah, they can interact, and then some car maybe wants to go faster, and the other give the way to that car. Then the one that go faster pay to the slower one. So everyone encouraged to have this kind of transactions, so to maintain the behavior, or at least the one that have good behavior, we give reward to the one that have good behavior. Okay, then at the last, blockchain is information technology, of course, and then because we can manage the behavior, we call this one also institutional technology. This is quite a strong word for the blockchain. Yeah. Okay, now going to the implementation. We have I list several good implementation of blockchain. The first one is a company called Birth IQ, which they exchange the patient data among the doctor without sacrifice the private information. So they can exchange the data between the doctor, the pharmacy, the laboratorium, and the hospital. Yeah. So using this application on blockchain base, we can do that. And the second one is a government in the US put all of the birth certificate, death certificate, voter registration card, social security number on top of the blockchain. So if someone, maybe I come to the city, and then I say that I was born in the city, then they say that, oh, you cannot do that because we have a blockchain record on that you are not you are born in the city. Yeah, we can use this one also in the university, like creating a certificate, yeah, that goes to that you have already graduated to the university using the same mechanism. The third one is also the quite interesting one, is music royalty. Yeah, this is there are many cases where artists have been victim of the today industry, that their music has played everywhere without their get their what is their right. Yeah, but here you can define the proportion of the artists that create the music, and then once the music play on top of the chain, it triggers the payment directly to the artist on real time. So without having waiting for a long time, without someone to change the contract or etc. This kind is going to execute automatically. Yeah. And also the supply chain, of course, the supply chain have a lot of advantage of using blockchain technology, because they can trace, or the traceability a problem where we can see where our product or stuff going from one point to another point. Along the way, we can check whether the quality change or whether it goes to the right route or something like that. So this one is a sample of Mars in Europe, is using the IBM-based blockchain. We also have a voting mechanism, which is a lot of people don't really believe, yeah, and also voting like a election is take a lot of money. So we by doing this on digital and based on blockchain, yeah, we can have this kind of transaction secure, yeah, and the privacy also protected, yeah. Advertising as well have a good use of blockchain without sacrificing the user privacy data on social media. This is kind of important right now. Right sharing, yes, and then maybe Indonesia is humanitarian fundraising is the most related to us, because in Indonesia but we haven't found similar to this company. This company tracking that our donation going to the right people. Yeah, there's so many people that ask donation for the unfortunate people, but we are not sure that our donation goes to the right person. So this is related to Indonesia. So other things is central bank digital currency, which is quite a big issue today. Around 80% of central bank in the world thinking about changing their money into digital currency, but this is not slowly adopting all the technology in the blockchain. Yeah, what they adopt is not the decentralized. They still want to centralize because they still want to regulate all the money, but the database, yeah, the decentralized, the open system, everyone can see, etc., is try to adopt this methodology. There's some advantage like technology efficiency, yeah, financial inclusion, because the money come from the bank and directly goes to the end user or public or citizen without really need to the middle bank. So we can also trace the activity of the money spent for what, and maybe some from illegal activity, but also raising some concern in the area of privacy. Yeah. Okay, and then this is the area that our lab interested to use, combined between blockchain and AI, is quite interesting. This is a little video, maybe, yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry I haven't introduced the concept first. I just play on the video accidentally. So this is kind of creating a good model to detecting the disease on the patient. So when we create the model in AI, we need a lot of data. But once we create the data, each of hospital, each different health facility have different standards. So we just create collecting the data, and without only the symptom, not the privacy or the personal identity of the client, of the patient, and then we build and then we exchange the data into different model. So the data exchange, we not we in this company called First, I'm sorry, I forgot the name. First of AI, then they create the model based on all the data from different hospital. So this is a good example how we put together blockchain and AI. And also the second example is about the hedge fund, predicting stock. So once we predict the stock, it's a non-trivial problem. So it's kind of hard. Some of our prediction model only works for automotive industry, some other only for media industry, for IT company, and etc. But this company called Numerai, Numerai, they make a competition from all the data scientists to create the best model. Then the best model award by a cryptocurrency. So this is a cross-sourcing project, and the best model, we call it this one meta model, always beat the individual model to create a better model to predict all industry at the same time. So this is the second example. Also, this is very advancing from singularitynet.io. This is a marketplace for developer and also for the company that goes creating an AI, but the transaction between what we want to hire the developer, or we want to buy this part or this model or this algorithm, all using the AI agent based on smart contract. So this is a company once that built Sophia, the humanoid that maybe you have heard this Sophia in the newspaper a couple years back. So this is quite interesting because we can leave the transaction by only AI and blockchain at the same time, then no human involved on that. So we can create the automation on that. Okay, also in AI, cloud computing, or as maybe I haven't mentioned before, that creating a model to detect disease or creating an AI is a very expensive computation. This methodology from deep brain, they use idle computer in your home, on other area, in the office or etc., that not have load on their production to contribute on the big project to create to compute the AI model. So this transaction, there's two blockchain rules in here to processing the transaction, and the second one to mining. Processing means that they're part of the computation to create the AI model, and the second part is to verify whether you are allowed or not to be a part of this cloud computing ecosystem. So this is interesting also because it actually will revolutionize the industry in cloud computing as well. So now we are more and more going to the cloud computing this day. Also, there's also supply chain in OpenSG, yeah, open supply chain. Maybe you might heard this one, where they catch the fish on certain area and then bring to the other, to the processor, manufacturer, etc., etc. But once the condition change or the weather change or etc., AI will recommend you, yeah, which food that you need to buy, yeah, because of certain issues such as the higher level of carbon dioxide or something like that. Okay, so I will skip this one because what time still I have? I still have Prof. Jan.
Yeah, you have enough time because the first speaker has lesser time.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
It's still on schedule, so go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So in smart city we have also implement blockchain in smart Dubai. You can check this website. Yeah, they use blockchain to reduce a lot of bureaucracy. Yeah, such as buying apartment and traceability logistic and etc. This is a quite inspiration for us in Indonesia, because last time we have a problem with people in the land registry in Indonesia that several people claim to have the same land, but actually we don't know which one is actually. We have an office of land registry that they just issue the date, for example 2010, but the other people claim that the office already issued the date from 99, yeah, 99, and then it becomes a problem and become a fight in the justice. Yeah. So this kind of the activity does not necessarily, we don't want this kind of necessary activity. So maybe with the blockchain we can reduce this kind of potential problem. Okay. Also, we have other potential use case for blockchain, which is this is general rules that we can see. Yeah, this is a picture of flight all over the world. Yeah, so we can see that today around 400,000 until 500,000 people at the same time in the air. So there's a lot of risk here involved that might have be accident or something like that. And by today's standard, we already have the machine to help us, but human play a large part on this one. But once we put a transaction like a smart contract, yeah, and a little bit AI on each machine, we can just see all the machine, all the flight without visual recognition. We just make a transaction between them, or we can say that this is the same happen on the road, yeah, between autonomous car, yeah. Today, the last autonomous car, some car accidentally hit a woman until die, fatal accident in US. So this is because they wrong interpreted this is a human or not. So maybe in the future the transaction not based on the visual but other mean, yeah, like coordination or GPS or something like that. So we can avoid this thing, bad thing from happening. Also, we have decentralized web or apps or AI. As we see that now we have, maybe tomorrow Prof. Jan will talk about finance. Decentralized finance is maybe as the same concept that we spread the smart contract between node in the network, and then they can make a transaction between with other agent or human. So this is quite interesting because we can build the next generation of internet, or we can see that web 3.0. Also in the service economy in Indonesia, we have very promising sharing economy, then like a Gojek or Airbnb in Indonesia, that where we can create, we can create a level of service or reputation based on this blockchain. Okay, basically we can put a IoT, machine to machine conversation, and we can use blockchain to guard the procedure. On society as well, we can see that now we go more on the flat structural instead of hierarchy. So we need to see that whether we can trust the other. So we have a lot of problem also in social media in Indonesia, where we just believe to anyone without knowing their identity, real identity and reputation. There is no way that we see that the reputation of certain people that give the opinion. And also all of the data is centralized to the social media, social network services. So when we have a blockchain-based social based on society, then we can decentralize all of the data, and everyone have the same perception about who have the a good reputation. This is one of the examples, Demit, which is quite promising. And also in the environment, this is one area that we need also implement, because we only see that the effect of the economies on short side, not the long side. We just chop the forest or something like that, and without giving back. So once we can create we can measure the capital, the revenue, and also how they give back to the nature. Then we can see that it's a part of their to the nature. So we can see that environment, we can use a token economic, as we said before. Okay, some notes about this presentation. So that some application that we show you, we can collaborate. We can provide fairness. To human, to the nature. To coordinate individual action on global scale. From large scale. From how we can implement this to the sharing economy. And etc. To achieve collective intelligence, for example, in together to create building a model. We can or together predicting which is the best model to predict the stock. It's the same. So the information technology is not enough. Only AI. Only AI is not enough for me actually. So we need to change the behavior, or we can implement blockchain on top of the AI. So basically, in Indonesia itself, the government or the authority is, I think, is quite overwhelmed with the complexity of our daily problem. So we need to distribute those, with a trusted mechanism. Some is automatic, also transparent. So that solution can create the scalability of the overall of the system. So I see that we need the leadership, to see those things happen. So I think so. This is what I talked today. It's about economy, society, and technology. So this is all my presentation. I'm sorry if it's too much. Maybe the question can be written on the chat. Thank you, Prof. Yan.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Andre, for your presentation. It was nice to hear you talking about what the impact is of blockchain. We have a nice conversation at the chat, also questions, also answers. And I have a couple of answers for you in the session about questions and answers. But for this time, I have 3 questions from the chat, and I will ask them to you. The first one is, how long can you keep the data in the blockchain? And if we make a mistake, can we adjust the data? Can you tell something more about it?
So is it to me or Pak Agung? To me?
No, it's to you, Dr. Andre.
Okay.
How long
Okay.
can you keep the data in the blockchain?
So okay, in the blockchain, data is still stay there forever and never change. Never change, and we cannot delete it. So cannot delete it and never change. That's why in the slide I show you is what is I'm sorry, there's an echo on my voice. Okay, test. Can you still hear my voice? Test.
Yeah, sure. We can hear you very good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, in one of my slide, a tamper proof we cannot change, and also the second one in immutable we cannot change. So we cannot delete and always stay there forever. That is the answer, Prof. Yan. I'm sorry for the sound.
No, that's no problem. We can hear you.
Okay.
But another question about this is when we have made a mistake in the data in the blockchain.
Okay, yeah.
What we to do?
Okay, yeah, that is a good question. Yeah, once we have put the wrong data and always stay there forever. Like you make a wrong, I give a wrong sum of money to Prof. Yan. It means I cannot take it back until I ask Prof. Yan to bring back my money, something like that. So there's no way that we can undo this action. Because to put in the action, we need a lot of activity to verify and what is it? Put it all on the node in the network. So it's impossible.
Yeah, but when we talk about information data in the blockchain, and we have made a big small or big mistake in the data, can we adjust new data in the blockchain?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, we can once we make some data, or some error on the data, or some data input, we can put another one. We can adjust to the another one. So but we cannot retract the older one. We just put the new one. That's exactly.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. Another question from the chat is blockchain treating the banks and also the central banks?
Yeah, that is a very good debate recently. I read quite a lot of this opinion. Actually, bank quite threatened with the cryptocurrency right now. So there's a way that cryptocurrency run much more efficient than the bank. But on the other hand, the bank would want to lose their authority about the money, because the money is a nation, so it's a big problem if we mismanage of this money. But the question, I think the central bank or digital currency will have the both features. Once is still regulated. I mean it's still centralized. But the other one, how they put the data, how they create a settlement or transaction between a bank or between bank and customer, it very much changed in the recent, I think. So they're not going to replace, because a crypto or cryptocurrency or algorithmic based coin is they don't have asset behind it. They don't have collateral. So the price will go volatile Then once we have the money, we don't want this thing happen. We want the money to be always hold the value at all time. We don't want to go. We have this money and the next day we don't have this kind of value or plumb down. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to have money like that.
Okay, I understand that. But for example, when you have the Libra, I don't know if you know the Libra.
Yes.
It's a kind of both of those worlds. So what do you think about the Libra as an example for this?
I mean, you mean both world between the collateral or both world between the centralized or decentralized?
It's about a hybrid system. You have the monetary system, you have the currency, and then you have the Libra. It's in between. But what's your opinion about it?
I think we will see a kind of combination, a lot of this kind of condition in the near future. Yeah, because we are not ready yet to adopt a fully non-collateral money right now. Yeah, we don't know the answer yet, or we don't want the old strategy was centralized. So we use like this hybrid system for the time being, I think, until we find the new formula, right formula to do that.
Okay, thank you. And the third question and the last question from the chat, and then we go on with the other speaker. When you talk about voting, some mentioned that everything can be traced. Could there be a problem when you're voting? Everything could be traced, and could that be a problem?
So this is for me. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. So actually, in the blockchain, the transaction is between the not the individual, but the what is it called, the wallet. Yeah, the wallet between both the public key. Yeah, that public key doesn't come back to the private key as general as that. So we just know there is a transaction and certain number between two address, but we don't know who has the address. So only us that has the private key know that is me doing transfer to Profian, for example. But outside that, cannot trace back to us.
Okay, thank you for this time. Then we go on with the third speaker. The third speaker is Christa Barkel. I introduced you her before, but she will do her presentation about blockchain innovation in the context of ecosystems, the Consortium Blockchain. This research aims to comprehend how blockchain consortia evolve into ecosystems by investigating the ecosystem aspects of blockchain implementation and issues that are evolving in the developing blockchain innovations in consortia. The select case for this research is the travel industry, and for especially the Dutch travel industry. It's called as NVR. Dear Christa, the stage is yours. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Jan. Yes, thank you. It's my pleasure to tell you something about my PhD research and hopefully to teach you something about innovation in ecosystems related to blockchain, especially consortium blockchain, and with a focus on the travel industry, which I will tell you something later on. First, some research questions, papers, output to get a picture of what I'm studying at the moment. I'm taking a look at ecosystem aspects of blockchain innovation in consortia. That means expected ecosystem aspects based on literature study. That is, there's not much research yet on ecosystem blockchain ecosystems, especially in blockchain consortia. Well, we leave it for now. We will see some questions back in the presentations. I'm researching blockchain and blockchain application, and especially blockchain innovation from an ecosystem perspective in the travel industry. And why the travel industry? Because I think it's a very interesting travel industry to research blockchain innovation. And that is because there is a complexity of products. It's a very complex product with many ingredients, many components, like flights, like hotel beds, like booking, internet sites, excursions, insurance, etc. And also it's intermediary rich, which means we've got a lot of intermediaries. We take a look at that one later on. One of the questions in the text box was, will blockchain disrupt existing business ecosystems? Well, my answer to the question is yes, it certainly will for the travel industry, because we've got that many intermediaries there, and blockchain has the ability to eliminate, or at least make the power of intermediary minimalized. It's an industry with extensive digitization, which means that from now on we've got milliards of billions of people being a tour operator all over the world, and we can all manage, book our own travel. We've got a lot of new entrants that are innovating the market, that are especially IT innovators, and not really the existing market, existing tour operators. There's an innovation imperative due to high competition levels, but also, of course, due to COVID-19, nobody's traveling at the moment. They have a hard time right now, and really innovation necessity, but also the sustainable development goals, because it's not a real sustainable industry at the moment now. And they want to be more sustainable in future, or the need to be more sustainable in future. And the interest in blockchain in this industry, at least in the Netherlands, is very high. Entrepreneurs see the many potential use cases, but there's little implementation yet. They are a bit scared to implement blockchain because they think it's really techy. They don't get a whole grip on the technology and the system behind it. That makes it more interesting for me, not only to focus on the technology, but especially on the business implications. So the business side of blockchain. To get a picture of the complexity of the product, here you see the tourism supply chain management. On the left side, some tourism characteristics. It's very coordination intensive, it's perishable. When you don't fill an airplane seat right now, you can't sell it tomorrow. It's information intensive, very complex products, demand uncertainty. You see it right now with COVID. And very complex dynamics. On the right side, you see that there are a lot of tiers. In the middle, you see the tour operators who combine different components into a tour or into a travel product selling to customers. And then you have tier one, the most logical commodities like accommodation, transportation, excursions, shopping, maybe entertainment parks, etc. But then you still got tier two with suppliers of food and drink, equipment, craft producers. And it's not a linear process right now due to digitization, because everybody can book his own travel, and we can say that travel is a real ecosystem right now. So not linear, but an ecosystem which is quite complex. Okay, I promise you to show you some of the intermediary richness of this sector. And here you only solely see one example of hotel distribution, and hotels is only one ingredient of the whole travel experience, the whole travel product. And to make clear that it's very intermediary rich, you see a lot of suppliers here, some famous like YouTube, Booking.com. We have internal property management systems to run the hotel. to book the rooms, etc., distribution tools, aggregation platforms, selling and booking, etc. And they all got a piece of the pie. The hotels are really, there's a power shift from hotel selling to those intermediaries. Sometimes partners like Booking.com take 30% of the selling fee. So hotels are really keen on diminishing the power of this kind of platforms. And that's why the industry is very interested in adopting blockchain technology. And that's just hotels. We also got tour operators, airlines, etc., thinking about, okay, how can we rid of all those kinds of unnecessary intermediaries taking a lot of percentage of profit. Okay. Well, I talked about an ecosystem. What is an ecosystem? There are a lot of definitions, but I like to use Moore's definition because he's the founding father of business ecosystems. Business ecosystems are derived from biological ecosystems, which means that the whole works together, but there's also competition. One species eats another species, and that's why the ecosystem can survive. Normally, when we think about business, then we think about core business, which is in the heart of Moore's definition and Moore's clear picture of an ecosystem. That's the core contributors, the direct suppliers and distribution channels. We also got the extended enterprise, which also entails customers, but also a third line around it. It's the business ecosystem, which also contains investors, trade associations, competing organizations who can be part of the ecosystem. So you see that the ecosystem is a quite whole of parties working together with the goal to deliver a service or a product to the customers. Well, I dare to say that in today's interconnected world, all companies, not just companies, all companies inhabit ecosystems, and ecosystems that extend beyond the boundaries of their own industries. What is interesting, or what is important to know about business ecosystems, is that the actors have their own autonomy. There are autonomous organizations, but in an ecosystem, they are cooperating and competing simultaneously. We call that co-opetition, and that is very interesting in the eye of a blockchain. I will explain later on. And in addition to value creation and delivery, because you're creating a value for customer in an ecosystem and you deliver that value, an ecosystem design must take into account the distribution of value. How are you going to distribute that value fairly amongst the participants? And there comes in the intermediaries, because right now there's not a fair distribution of value in ecosystems. And that is something that blockchain really could solve. Okay. Well, I talked about competition. We call it the competition game. Now, remember, it was cooperation and competition at the same time, because when you're in an ecosystem, you need to cooperate to derive value, but you also are competitors at the same time, or can be competitors at the same time. So customers, suppliers, competitors, and complementers. But most view of ecosystem contains two more kind of actors, that were the rule makers, such as governmental organizations and regulatory agencies, but also associations. And I'm working with one of those, with the ANVR, which is the Dutch Association of Tour Operators and Travel Agencies, such as trade associations and labor unions. Wieringa composed a definition about ecosystems. They say, he says, the players in a business ecosystem are organizations that play the competition game with rules bounds set by rule makers and who communicate through associations. Why consortium blockchain? a lot of examples we heard from the first and second speakers were from public blockchains, also some from consortium blockchains. We can divide blockchains roughly in 3 types of blockchains. You also got hybrid forms, but this is roughly these 3 applies to many of those blockchains. It's the public blockchain, the consortium blockchain, and the private blockchain. In a public blockchain, consensus determination is by all miners. In a consortium blockchain, it's a selected set of nodes, and a private blockchain is just one organization. There are some blockchain evangelists, they say, well, a private blockchain isn't a real blockchain because it's just one company who uses the technology to make the data more safe, but there is no form of decentralization. It's all permissioned, and to some extent, I agree with them. And consortium blockchain compared to a public blockchain is that it's not all miners in a consensus determination, but a select set of nodes, and that makes it partly centralized. So the participants who participate in these kinds of blockchain, they take decisions, etc. In a public blockchain, it's totally decentralized. A public blockchain, it's not all through, it's not always permissionless because we've also got permissioned public blockchains. The advantage of a consortium blockchain is that the efficiency is high, more high than a public blockchain, but the immutability is less compared to a public blockchain because you don't have thousands of nodes, but probably a few to some hundred of nodes. Okay, this is what we discussed. Now, consortium blockchains can be applied into many business applications, and consortium blockchains are often referred to business blockchains, but also federated blockchains. In short, it's a set of companies, organizations of people working together in an ecosystem and use blockchain as a technology. In this picture again, who is allowed to participate in a network? When it's just one, it's a private blockchain. Between one and all, we call it a consortium blockchain, and all, we call it a public blockchain. Blockchain consortia have different sizes. They vary from very small with only 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 members to large with hundreds of members. We just named Libra. Libra is a consortium blockchain in which different parties work together. And in consortium blockchain, we have on-chain and off-chain governance, which means that on-chain governance are a number of agreements that are defined that deal with the operational part of the technology, like node hosting. Who are the node hosts? What is the consensus mechanism? Access and permission rights, tokenization if applicable, and often the choice of a protocol like Ethereum, etc., forms the basis of these on-chain agreements. In a blockchain consortium, off-chain agreements include the ground rules of the business part, and that makes it very interesting. It's a governance structure acceptable to all participants, and this goes about the business agreements around how those participants use the blockchain, who can decide about changes, how is value distributed, the overall performance of the consortium, how much input or control each participant delivers, how data will be shared. What makes consortium blockchain interesting in terms of competition and therefore an ecosystem perspective? Here, therefore, I use quite recent research from Zavalokina. there you see some areas of consortium blockchains, like consortium management, business value, and governance, and the tensions that arise within blockchain innovation and creating a blockchain consortium. For example, creating a system to enable trustless collaboration, which a blockchain is, because the technology takes over the trust part, because the trust is programmed into the technology. But in order to program trust into the technology, inter-organizational trust is really needed. You first need to trust each other as a partner before you can use a blockchain, or you can work as a blockchain consortium. So there's a friction, there's a tension. Also, cooperation and collaboration versus disintermediation. This is very interesting in the travel industry, because a lot of partners, we've got 20 travel entrepreneurs in the Netherlands that are members of the association, the Dutch association, and they are very interesting and very keen on adopting a blockchain innovation pilot. But what is interesting is that they are competitors, but they are also some intermediaries. In short, when you sell when you offer services for renting an apartment, a vacation apartment, that is something that can be done by other parties when we can get access to the data that is needed. There are also IT intermediaries, like platforms linking demands to a customer need. When you need to work together, when I take part in a consortium, knowing that the blockchain might even make my role obsolete, there's quite of a tension. So they are really looking at each other. They're not doing so much, but they are looking at each other. Okay, who takes the first step and what does it mean for me? Okay, I take just some things out of it. Also, openness, one of the reasons to adopt a blockchain is transparency. So openness to all the enable comprehensive coverage when you need, when you work together to share data and for efficiency purposes or for transparency purposes. That's nice, but there we have competition. You also want to be selective to enable competition. How are you going to compete if everyone has access to the same information? There's a big information gap in the travel industry. Who has got access to the most valuable information? That's the leader in the market right now. And why would you open all your data in order to maybe lose your competitive advantage? So that is a very big tension right now. Hierarchy effectiveness versus democratic efficiency. We saw when we go to a more decentralized system that's more democratic, means that we have to get rid of the hierarchy. And that is some leaders in the market find that very hard to do, but they might need to in order to survive. Well, some examples of practical application in the travel industry, for example, is insurance flight delay. This was an initiative of AXA, one of the insurance companies in Europe. This pilot has stopped. I don't know the reason why. It could be just a pilot for a certain time. It's called FISI, and it means that we use smart contracts in order to find out whether a flight is delayed or not. You can, if you take a flight tomorrow and you want to insure yourself against a flight delay, then you fill in some information on the website. And a smart contract makes sure that they check whether your flight was late or not. And if it was late, for example, 2 hours of delay, then you get an automatic payout based on the smart contract. And you're quite sure that that information is correct, because normally you could get insured against flight delay before, but then they used global air traffic databases, and it was the airline who decided whether they were late or not. And now it's the information, it's the data from different sources that that decide it's too late or it's not too late. It was an initiative via the public Ethereum blockchain. There's one initiative in the Dutch industry sector between a tour operator and an insurance company. I can't tell you much about it because it's in a pre-phase, but the travel industry sees a lot of use cases and efficiency cases in the combination of tour operating, travel industry and insurance, to at least share information and make things more easy via smart contracting. Other possible applications in the travel industry are loyalty, collecting loyalty points and redeeming loyalty points, not only for one airline, but maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 airlines and tour operators, etc. Via using the blockchain, you can make it easy and secure the data and make it interoperable. Luggage screening, tracking luggage is an existing use case right now, but also boarding, booking, check-in procedures at a hotel where you constantly need to show your ID. That is something that could be solved by blockchain application too, via, for example, identity management on blockchain. So you don't need to give a copy of your passport, which is very fragile. You use blockchain and a blockchain application to prove that you are you, and that's enough. Not a possible application in travel industry are, for example, real ratings and reviews. One of the big problems is, for example, on TripAdvisor or Zoover or other rating websites, is that there are a lot of false ratings. You can buy your ratings at a hotel, and by securing those ratings and verifying that ratings via the blockchain, you make them real. Decentralized sharing economy, the same problems that goes for Booking.com, very powerful party in the travel industry, also goes for platforms like Airbnb, etc. Sharing your car, sharing your bed, etc. You can use blockchain for that too and eliminate those third parties. Fast and cheap international payments, store your data securely. The travel industry is a very data intensive industry. There are complete destinations on the blockchain. Dubai, for example, is one of the pilots right now. Travel insurance, but also making the travel chain transparent. Talking to the Dutch travel industry, this is something that they find very important in order to make the travel more sustainable. You need to make the travel chain transparent, and that's quite hard to do, but that is something that we are thinking about. Okay, how can we use blockchain to make it transparent? And like Dr. Andre told about the oranges, and make the supply chain visible for products. How can we do that for services? Well, this is something about my case study. If you want to read about it, you can do it later on. For now, if you have any comments, questions, or maybe you want to cooperate or adding some future contribution to this studies, you're more than welcome to. This is my name. This is where you can reach me. And I really would like to thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Krista Bach, for your nice presentation and some insights of your research. I have a couple of questions, but first I would like to start with a compliment in the chat. One of the participants said that you have nice definition of different types of blockchain. They like it this way. I think we can now start with the Q&A sessions, but I have also some questions for you, Krista. But just start with you, Krista. Can you tell us more about the stage of your current PhD research? Where are you standing now?
Yes, of course. I started at the end of 2019 with my promoter. By the way, Jan is my co-promoter in this project. But we got some delay. That's because of COVID-19. We started with a pilot in February 2020 with 20 travel entrepreneurs, and they were all enthusiastic, and they wanted to start a pilot which I could follow, which I could research as a case study, longitudinal. But due to COVID-19, the first month they had to make sure that they recovered all the travelers being on a destination to bring them home, and then they had some economic downside due to COVID-19, and they had some other things on their head. But I'm proceeding. I'm working on it 1.5 years right now. We did the pilot. We had some group interviews. We did a survey, a second survey this month. And I'm planning to have expert interviews to find out what ecosystem aspects apply to, and ecosystem issues apply to Consortium Blockchain. So I hope to proceed and to finish within 2.5 years.
Okay, thank you very much. I have another question about in the chat. Someone is asking, do you think blockchain is affordable for small and family hotels?
Yes, that depends on the application of blockchain. Where do you use blockchain for? So I think it's certainly affordable. Blockchain is not very expensive, or needs not to be very expensive. If you use it to cooperate, for example, in the supply chain, you also need other participants. I think that it's not the affordability and the money that is a problem, but it's the ecosystem perspective, because you use a blockchain, like I said, you can use it as a private blockchain, but I don't think that you use the promise of blockchain and the potential of blockchain fully. When you use it with more companies and organizations, I think it's more difficult to start a consortium than that it is expensive.
Okay.
But it can surely be a solution against Booking.com. Yeah, also for small hotels.
That's a nice bridge to my other question I have about Booking.com. What do you think about Booking.com? Sorry.
Yeah, well,
from our
it's mixed
perspective of research.
Yeah, it's mixed feelings, because they add value to a market, because Booking.com makes sure that the occupancy rate in hotels is very high. When you promote your hotel rooms via Booking.com and make it accessible, then your occupancy rate is higher. But I really, from a personal point of view, in this time, I don't think it's fair to take 30% fee when you have such a powerful position, because the small and medium-sized hotels, they don't have the money to get found on the first page of Google. So you're really dependent. There's a dependency, and dependency against the rate they are asking. I don't think that's fair. And I really are really looking forward to systems that could diminish or minimize their power. So yes, they add value, but they also attract a lot of value. And I think they attract more value than they add at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Then I will go on to Mr. Anand about your presentation and some questions about it. How do you think about the adoption of blockchain? Can you say something about it, Mr. Anak?
What the question again, Professor?
How do you think that how do you think about the adoption of blockchain?
Adoption.
Yeah, for many people, it's very new. It's exciting. But what do you think about the adoption rate of blockchain?
I think it depends on how you want to use that blockchain for. I think, for example, in our latest research, it's about smart certificate. So it's a smart contract for diploma certificate. To deploy the certificate and sign the certificate, it costs only about $2.5 US. That's pretty affordable. But the question is the people ready? I mean, we have to make sure that everyone involved in that process ready enough to adopt the blockchain.
Yeah. And you said that the technology would be no problem, but it's about the adoption of the people. And when they need to know some application about the blockchain. So when we're talking about the COVID, you have to need a COVID passport. That could be a big pressure to adopt this kind of passport on the blockchain. That is what you mentioned?
Yes. I think the most important thing is whether if the people are ready or not, because from the previous question, let's see the previous question about exchange that has been hacked. I mean, that's not the blockchain's fault. That's the people and the application that holds that runs on the blockchain. I can say this because it was happened to me late in early 2018, I guess. It was my first years in blockchain. I have this wallet, but I didn't provide password for it. I didn't password my wallet. So that's my fault. I got my funds stolen.
Yeah.
That's the problem with the blockchain. I mean, the blockchain itself is good and it's a good promising future, but is the people ready? Is the law ready for this adoption?
Yeah.
I think that's the question need to be answered.
Yeah, another question I have, what are some applications of blockchain you are finding very interesting at this moment?
Yes, excuse me.
What kind of applications in blockchain you find this day very interesting?
Oh, that kind of. I think it's because it's immutability, and we can deploy the smart contract on the blockchain, so we can do pretty much everything with the blockchain. So I'm currently working on blockchain for certificate and voting, and I think that's very interesting for me.
Okay, thank you. I have another question for Dr. Henry.
Yes.
Yes, nice to see you again.
Yeah.
Dr. Henry, what do you think about privacy, big data in technology and society?
Okay. So privacy is a big issue right now because there's a business model, the new business model that harnessing a lot of information from data. Then there's no regulation regarding how we collect the data. So there's a lot of, especially in Indonesia, we have a lot of services that give you something for free, but instead take back all of your data to create advertising or something like that. So privacy is a big problem, and I believe blockchain is one solution to do that, to solve this kind of I think it's a little bit unethical business model, yeah, and a lot of Indonesia is not really aware of this kind of problem, and also blockchain itself, I think, is kind of abstraction for many of us. If you ask Pak Agung before about how the implementation or penetration to use blockchain, but right now I see that a lot of confusion in the field about this abstraction. Yeah, but this is normal, but we need to work hard. People expect to have like some kind of application in front of them before they know what is on usage for them. Yeah, or the one that I give you an example about the supply chain or traceability. Maybe only small portion of people want to have this kind of features, but they don't know how, where to look, when to use, when to implement it, how to find the talent to create the application. So this kind of the ecosystem is not yet built based on this blockchain application. Maybe I think, Prof. Yan, maybe you can help us to make a research together on this area. With your knowledge, of course, I think it's quite interesting because there's a lot of potential use, but then and also we have a lot of data as well. So you can see those data and some solution about it, maybe.
There's a lot about the discussion of privacy in the Netherlands and also in the European Commission about privacy. And the other way, have people enough awareness and understand that they were paying with their data for some application of every what you want. I find it a very interesting discussion, but because not everyone sees how you pay with your own data, and also where we're sharing data on Twitter or something else, and that is no problem. So it's a very nice discussion, and also you have to talk about the law and regulation. And also in the Netherlands, we're still discussing about law and regulations about blockchain.
Yes.
So it would be very nice to do some research about this topic. Also, another question for you, Dr. Andre. You mentioned in your presentation, not the name, but I think you think about it, but it was the Lehman Brothers in the financial industry, that banks problems in 2008. And then at that time, people are thinking about how do we see the government, how do we see blockchain, the philosophy of blockchain, etc. But what do you think about this day? It happens in 2018. We're now in 2021.
It could. I think it could happen again if we don't change the way we treat the central authority. Yeah, because there's a big slogan: "Big power tends to corrupt." not about the corrupt. I think this one is investment. I think some maybe they make a decision to do some kind of investment activity, but that is our money. But we might not agree with this decision. But otherwise, we have to accept what the bank decision to invest the money. So this is what happened in today right now. But I think in general it could happen again. Yeah, we cannot, we don't have the power to, I don't know what is called, to see how the bank operate. Banks always is always close. It's close to our monitor, so we cannot see what is inside or how the decision is made or something like that. So we don't exactly know. Yeah, you know what I mean, something like that.
That's right. You don't can think what's in the head of the banking.
Yeah.
What I will also see in the Netherlands, for example, that we have only now at this day 50% of the banks that we have before. We are seeing the development of the currencies. We see the development of Bitcoin. So I think you cannot look in the head of the banks, but I think that there will be a huge change about the monetary system.
Yes.
And also, I mentioned before, Libra is just a kind of, but when you look at Facebook and the potential they have in Africa or something else, it could be very huge. And I also agree that systems can stand alone and then can have a little bit of what it could be. Thank you. I have a question in the chat for Krista. Someone asked the question, people are still scared to implement blockchain in the Netherlands because of this complexity. What do you think about the possibility to apply blockchain other developing countries or from the small business? It's about implementation.
Yes, I understand. Yeah, I think that we have the talent to make things more complex than needed. Blockchain isn't that complex. It's something that we think it is. For example, no, I think that blockchain can be implemented quite fast by small companies. Small enterprises, but also in developing countries, because they don't have those complex systems in place yet. But maybe Jan can tell something about making the unbanked bank. That is a nice application in developing countries. A very small idea with a big impact, not very complex to get in place. For example, in the Netherlands, we did a group interview discussion and a survey, and we asked the entrepreneurs, the travel entrepreneurs, why they haven't started any blockchain project yet. It's not that they don't believe in blockchain applications and the value of blockchain, but they're looking at each other and they think that that it is something that is really big. You need at least 200 or 300 travel companies working together, regulations, government companies, and we emphasize that sometimes it's better to start very small. Why not start a consortium with two or three parties with a very practical blockchain solution? So I think the talent to make things more complex makes it very complex. And I think that also for small enterprises, and especially for developing countries, that blockchain is a real chance to innovate things and make things better. Jan, maybe you can try to tell something about the unbanked.
Yeah, I did when I started at Saxion University as professor of blockchain. We have a blockchain week, and I've mentioned there about the unbanked people in the whole world. And we look at unbanked people, and I think it's about 2 million people. And then you go to South America, Africa, etc. And what a big issue there is, they have no banking, they have no point support, etc., etc. When you have a land, then you also have a land registration. And when you think of, you say that it is mine, I am the owner of this land, but you can't show them because there is no land registration, there is no bank, there is no identity or whatever. But what you can make possible, that you have a smartphone where you can arrange everything about it. And that's what the huge impact could be for blockchain and also for Libra in those kind of countries and in Africa and South America. Because it's going to be it can be a huge impact for those people and also for the monetary system. And it's now very interesting. I've wrote a little bit about what's going on Libra, and then it's very interesting what the politics are doing. And Libra will start now to launch the Libra, I call it 2.0. Another question I have. Just go back to Mr. Anna. Are you there?
I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Can you give some example of using smart contracts in the industry? You talk about smart contracts. Can you give some examples of smart contracts where they can use it?
Well, like some example in using smart contracts. There's a smart grid in America, if I remember it correctly, that use smart contract to perform transaction on the electricity. That's one example. We can also use a smart contract for a smart certificate, as I mentioned earlier. We can use it for copyright transfer. We can use it for like the NFT token, the recently booming NFT token. That's example on how we use smart contract for the industry.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. I would go back to Dr. Andre. We talked some about regulations and privacy, etc. But do you have a vision, or do you know something about the regulation on blockchain in Indonesia? Is there or something else?
As far as I know, I cannot find any regulation regarding blockchain. We still start from the one data. Yeah, it means that all the data into one single data, still in the data area, and also we have the government-based business. Yeah, also AI national strategy, but not on blockchain yet. But maybe Pak Agung can add. Maybe, do you know about the regulation regarding blockchain, Pak Agung?
I don't think we have any regulation for the blockchain yet.
Yes. But I think we have several initiation from different industry. For example, in Central Bank, I work a lot with them in some area that they plan to implement digital currency, but not the blockchain. So it's on the separate area. In an industry, there's also effort to implement supply chain for traceability. There's also a lot of some of the fintech financial technology that use blockchain for credit scoring, but they are not regulated. Yeah, they're not regulated yet. Still not huge enough. Also for traceability, for example, some coffee coming from this area, they offer something like that, but they still in the limited for coffee lover, because coffee is very sensitive. If we pay a lot of money, if they don't get the good product, or then it is not good. So it just it's not big enough. So there's no regulation yet.
Yeah, I understand it, but it's very nice to hear that you have a regulation or a strategy about IA.
AI, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I have comment, Prof. Jan?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yes. Please introduce myself. My name is Imam. I'm a chairman from the Peru Research Institute for Authentication. Peru is a state-owned company. Now we have research on what Pak Andri says, central bank digital currencies. As I know, blockchain is a technology that because before I work for the government, I'm a commissioner of Telkom Authority. Basically, we don't regulate the technology, but we regulate the use case. Like I believe the government will not regulate the blockchain. We have regulation for the transaction using crypto. We regulate because of crypto has effect in business.
Yeah.
And maybe we will have regulation about CBDC. It's about the use case, not about the technology. And until now, the government is still confusing. Is we using blockchain or crypto? Yeah. So I believe in our government. I believe in Indonesia government perspective because I joined with them before. Our approach is how the technology affect the business, affect the society. We regulate how the impact is have a good impact comparing the others there. But technology, you can use any kind of technology. Basically, Indonesia is technology neutral. But use case, yes, we regulate use case. It's just my opinion. As former commissioner, thank you.
Yeah, Pak Imam is coming from government side. He was in the government, so he knows how the government works. So it's a good opinion from Pak Imam.
Thank you, Mas Jan. We will have a collaboration in next future.
Yeah, that's okay, but it's very interesting what you mentioned, because you talking about the use case and not about the technology, and it's very interesting to look at this way. What I see in the Netherlands, they're looking at the technology and not at the use case for this moment. And we have not regulation about the technology blockchain, but when you look to Germany, they have a vision about blockchain, but also it's about the technology. So the insight of, do we have to talk about how does a car works, or do we have to talk about how are you riding in a car? And that's a main difference. And it's a very interesting vision. So thank you very much for this introduction. Okay, I still have some couple of questions. Just look around. Yes, a question for Christa Barkel. How did the travel industry react on your research about blockchain? And can you tell something about the output and impact of the session you have with the travel industry?
Yes, their reaction was quite positive. Firstly, from the association, who said, well, this is something that we really want to underpin and we want to facilitate. And it was quite easy to find 20 partners to work with in the pilot. The first results were that they're still waiting to adopt some pilots, but they are really willing to. My first impression is that they have talking about use cases. In that first session, we were asking them, okay, your knowledge about blockchain isn't maybe not at the level that you want it to be, but knowing the things about blockchain, what kind of use cases you see for the travel industry. And then we came up with 30 ideas in just 30 minutes. So there are a lot of use cases. They see the value of blockchain for their industry, but the hard thing right now is to start. How do we start? But you see a few players in the Dutch industry, the big players like TUI, which is a big tour operator with its own airlines and its own hotels. They have adopted blockchain already, and they are not very willing to share their ideas and their experiences yet. And that is something that we really need in the industry to explain the use cases and what blockchain can do. So you really need each other's experiences to make sure that the industry gets better and make a step forward. So yes, willing to, but still in the waiting phase.
Okay, thank you very much. I have one small question, not a big question, and then I will closing the Q&A session. But we have a small question. It could be a big answer, but we will see. It was in the chat. What's the difference between blockchain and holochain? Is that something? Is someone want to react on this?
I don't know about holochain yet, but I think it's about privacy, right? But the detail I don't know yet about.
Okay, nobody knows holochain, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Then I will close with the last question, the big question. Last but not least, I would say. I will ask it to Dr. Andre, but everyone can react on it if you want to. And how the question is, how can we use this technology in more in humanities, in society? We have 4 lines of research in our research group, and the fourth line of research is about blockchain for good, and that's about humanity, etc. But what do you? How can we use this technology for? Those examples?
Okay, thank you. I only speak for Indonesian case. In Indonesian case, I think before blockchain we have still lack of a problem about in data. So data is much worse problem than the blockchain. When the COVID-19 show up in Indonesia, government give donation to the people who don't have who are impacted by this pandemic. But this donation comes to the wrong hand, so this is a big problem. Come to the people that not to the people that really need it. There's maybe some corruption, maybe some wrong data or something like that. So I think once we have Indonesian government have one data established in the next 1 or 2 years, we have a lot of one single entity of data, and then we can implement blockchain to trace those. But I think my opinion is that everyone still wait and see. So we need the leadership, as I show you in my presentation, either from the business or the business or from the government. Anyone can jump to this solution, because the big initiative in Indonesia, like ride-hailing service, which impacted a lot of job unemployment using ride-hailing motor, like people going everywhere using motor, motorcycle, using motorcycle. So this is coming from business, from private initiative, not from government. So anyone who have this leadership will have a lot of potential advantage in the future, including many opportunity to reduce the people job unemployment or something like that. That is all from me, Prof. Jan.
Okay, thank you very much. I look at the chat, I see no questions anymore in the chat. Is
Can
there
I add
something?
Yeah, can I add something to your question, Jan?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think one way or the other, we all should stay critical by ourselves, because blockchain isn't a truth machine. We often say it's a truth machine, but shit in is shit out. If you put something on it what isn't true, for example, the case of the oranges, if it is a consortium blockchain with a self-interest and they are checking the things themselves and putting it on a blockchain, then it's the same unfair system as it was before. Blockchain doesn't solve problems, but can help solving the problems we have.
Yeah, I agree. Garbage in, garbage out.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you for your comments, Krishna.
Jan,
Yeah, sure.
may I add something to the last question? In 2018, I think we designed a smart contract for tracking donation. I think that's one sample of implementation of blockchain for humanity.
Okay, thank you. If there are no any comments at this moment more, I will close this session about questions and answers. Thank you very much, keynote speakers, for doing the discussion. Also the participants in the chat, thank you very much. It was nice to do it this way. And we still going on with research about the implementation of blockchain and the adoption of blockchain and what's in the law and regulation and whatever is going on blockchain. We have a next section next week, and later on this year we have, I think, a huge session, a conference. So thank you very much for this session, and I will give the mic now to Nok. Yeah, are you there, Nok?
Yes, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Jan Vaughan. It's great, very great webinar. I think it's very interesting to hear you, expert in the field of blockchain, to discuss about blockchain in the Netherlands, in Europe, and Indonesia. Blockchain is obviously has many impact in the environment, in the healthcare system, in business, in society, in justice. So I think that there will be a lot of rooms for us, for you as expert in this area to discuss in the future. So this webinar is the first one, but not the last. And I'm sure that after this webinar, we will receive a lot of suggestions for the new topics we can think of in the next webinar or conference. And I'd like to share with you that in May, we also organized the conference, international conference with our partners in Russia and Vietnam. And during this webinar, I'm very happy to see that there is not only the discussion between your our experts, our lecturer, our professor, students, but also from our guests from the government and from the non-governmental organization and from business. So in the next conference that we organize with our partner, that is the university, one of the top university in Russia, that's the financial university under the government, it's very long name, under the government of Russia. And for that conference, we also invite not only our professor and lecturer, researcher, but we also invite the chairman, the director of Central Bank of Russia, and Central Bank from Vietnam. So I'm sure that it will be very interesting to hear from them what they see the future of blockchain. So I would like you, and for this conference, we would like to call for the paper as well. So please, our researcher, follow up our website and our social media, and you're welcome to submit your paper for our journal or for our book. For now, our webinar is over. On behalf of our partner Telkom University in Indonesia and Saxion University of Life Sciences, I would like to thank you very much, our keynote speaker, Ms. Krista, Mr. Agung, Dr. Andre, and Professor Yang. I also would like to thank all our lecturers, our students, and our guests from the government and from companies. Today webinar attracted, we already have more than 170 participants who have already registered, and they come from not only Indonesia, the Netherlands, but also from Germany, from Spain, from UK, from Japan. So I think that blockchain issue attract a lot of attention not only in 2 countries, but in all over the world. And it will be more discussion in the future in this field, but the next webinar that will be organized between Saxion University and Telkom University on the 17th of March will be about blockchain in health, blockchain in finance, and decentralized finance, blockchain security. We hope to see you all again in our next webinar. And please don't forget to fill in your in our evaluation form. Your feedback will help us a lot to improve our quality of the webinar and may give us the suggestion for the new topics for discussion. So thank you very much for your participation. Terima kasih atas partisipasinya. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And have a nice day. Thank you, our organizer, especially.
Thank you, Ngok.
Thank you. Bye.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terima
Bye-bye.
kasih. Terima
Thank
kasih.
you, thank you.
Ya. Prof Yan,
Bye.
Krista.
Thank you.
Oke. Oke,
Bye
Pak
bye.
Agung.
See you
Ya.
next time.
Ya.
Thank you.